with Josh. You guys know Joshua Carlton, tattooer, his killer tattooer. He used to work with St. Mark. The shop was called New Breed back in the day in Indiana. And I was still working at Eternal. This is probably, I don't know, 2000 or something. And I think at that point I did use my mag to do pupils, and you're kind of fudging it in with the corner, catching maybe 3 needles off that 7 mag or something. And it works, but you really got to get in there and go over it, and you can risk overworking the skin, by trying to use the wrong needle to do the job, So at some point I just started using my liner again. It's like, yeah, should have been doing this from the beginning, Tom's just kind of,
I think that's a nice thing about Cheyenne, the cartridge system, is that
yeah.
I'll do that. If I'm going to do like line thickness on just a traditional piece, right, with something thin and big, rather than try to sculpt it in, I'll just switch out to like a 9 round shader.
Yeah. Dude, just
make it happen.
pop
Yeah.
them in and out.
It is, yeah.
It's great.
It's $3, but whatever.
Yeah. But in the grand scheme of it, if it's a big tattoo, it's $3 for,
That's right.
a big portrait or something or whatever. I remember Joshua called me and he goes, when you're doing pupils and eyes, what are you using? And I explained, I was doing it the Tom Unshaw way, and then went back to my liner. He goes, yeah, I was using a liner to put my pupils in. And St. Mark walked by and goes, how come you're not? Because those guys were all 15 mag guys. They would do entire portraits with a 15 mag. But Joshua was using a liner for little stuff. And Mark walked by and goes, why are you using 15 mag for people? You pussy, And just kind of half fucking with them, probably half serious, So he called me he was curious what I used, and it's like, Mark would do that. He was a 15 mag for a fucking pupil, and it can be done, but why do it if it's harder to do? They were doing it more for the novelty and being able to say I did that. Did everything with a 7 mag. Like Tom Renshaw did this. This tattoo took 16 hours in one day. But it's Jimi Hendrix. If you guys can see it. But that entire tattoo was done with a 7 mag. So he started from the bottom, worked his way up, But even I was sitting there going, I think I was tattooing for like 3 years at that point. I was already doing portraits and everything. Wobbly. But even just all these little patterns in the code, I'm thinking I would probably have used like a round or something for that. And then when he got up to the face, if you guys saw this thing up close, the teeth in there, it looks like, it's tiny, it's a small head. And it looks like he used a signal needle to do the teeth. But he used one needle off the corner of the 7 mag to put those teeth in there, that small. I think I would have used maybe a 3 liner.
You just get a steeper angle on that? Is that what you're doing to get the depth?
I'm just make sure it's on the corner or it's just the one needle, and then just putting it in there. I don't know how deep it's going or...
So if I can get wispy stuff like that, but unless I kind of increase my angle of attack where I can get the depth, but without other needles hitting.
Yeah.
Well, just think of the angle that you have to go in to catch that one needle getting into the skin.
It's definitely going in at an angle.
To get it to stick. That's a kind of weird angle.
When I'm doing that, to do those hairs and stuff, it's going in at an angle, but you're going like that. It's not like on an angle pushing it in like that. Like usually when you're working the needles, you think the needles are pushing the ink in forward like that on an angle, right? But when I'm just using that one needle, it's actually putting it in going backwards, which doesn't seem like it's not the proper way to do it maybe or something, but it works. Just put it in, you feel it. It's more like you can feel it going in, and then look at it, make sure it's there, and that makes sense, and another thing, when he got up here in the face, he was working on the whole face and stuff, and the teeth had wiped away the stencil. There was nothing in there, and instead of like maybe grabbing a ballpoint pen and drawing them back in or something. He just did it. One needle off the corner of a 7 mag, nothing there, just by looking at the picture and putting it in, you know, and it's perfect. Like, I don't have that kind of confidence, you know. So, 16 hours sounds a long day, man. What's we got? Here's fresh and healed. You can see this guy had gotten a little bit red too. I think I actually took the saturation and took a little bit of that redness out. So you can see some people get darker and redder than others, you know, and then they soften up in the heels. This looks pretty dark in the forehead. You know, you can see it lighten up. But not too much. Doesn't lighten up that much. This is one. When I saw this guy healed, it looked like he was like, it stayed as dark as it was when it was fresh, but without the redness, you know. I mean, you could see where, like, see this background up on the right side here. You can see how that lightened up, you know. Part like the nose here, the side of the nose, you can see how that lightened up. That thing stayed dark, man, and it's different types of skin. Some people seem to lighten up a little more than others, or maybe it just looks so dark when it's going in. Maybe I'm tattooing them maybe a little lighter than I would if they had really nice skin. And so when they heal, they lighten up a little more, maybe than I wanted them to, or something. But usually it all works out where everything pretty much heals the way I hope it would.
You've still been using the same, telling people how to heal, creams and all that stuff, using the same method you've been using for years?
Well, H2 Ocean I really like, man. They got the ultimate tattoo care kit is really cool. I've used it on me and it works good, you know. With healing, you know, there's really, I don't really believe there's anything that's really that much better than anything else, you know. I've used Aqua 4, you know, if you like ointment. Some people can't use ointment. It makes them seep and stuff, you know. So some people use just like a fragrance-free hand lotion right from the get-go. But most of the time I'm tattooing somebody who's got several tattoos, and like they'll ask me, what do you recommend? I'm like, well, I have H2 Ocean stuff with me, so if they want to try it, I'll give them that, you know. But I'll ask them, well, what do you normally do? And whatever they do, I'm like, well, you can just keep doing what you're doing if it's working for you, because everyone's a little, you know, different. But for the most part, some people dry heal. You know, some people, I don't think it's good to dry heal. But if people have really soft skin, you know, it kind of stays, you know, hydrated. It's like their skin's so soft and stuff that where it just doesn't dry out, you know. I know there's 2 people I know that they dry heal, and then when it starts to peel real heavily, they'll, I can't talk today. When they start to peel, then they'll start using lotion, you know. So, but if it's a first-time client, you know, I'll give them some H2 Ocean. You know, it's made for tattoo aftercare, so, you know. But yeah, I know people that, I know a tattooer, old school tattooer, but she would recommend using Vaseline, a real thin layer of Vaseline. And,
That's what all the ointments are. They're just Vaseline.
yeah, they're petroleum based.
Other stuff thrown in there, but it's the petroleum jelly that's doing the work.
Yeah.
Vaseline with vitamins.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
as you send them out, you don't put like any, like say just for the first, under the bandage, a little batch trace, and then send them on the way, and then you start the H2O?
Yeah, like I'll actually use, when I wrap somebody up, I use H2 Ocean's Nothing. Oh, I'm gonna give you guys some too.
Yeah, that's cool.
There's a really good one called Floor. It's an antique style, but it's way better
guys haven't used this, there's some, if you guys haven't tried this nothing stuff, I'm gonna pass this around.
The nothing ointment.
Take one of
is
each of
like
those.
But still, like,
And nothing, what I love about the nothing is the texture of it for some reason. Like yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with a $3 jar of Vaseline while you're tattooing, during the tattoo and stuff. And but this nothing, I just like the texture. It's less greasy, so I like working with
You
it.
got a guy who mixes it, he'll mix his nothing with A&D just to get his consistency where he wants it and still have the same kind of benefits that he sees from.
Cool. You know, as far as the 4% lidocaine, I don't know if that even makes a difference in pain, you know. It probably makes a little bit of a difference without the client even knowing it, you know.
I just tell him ahead of time. Like, oh, this has numbing stuff in it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if it's true, uses Vaseline, but it got the
Yeah.
numbing stuff in
This
it.
is the most powerful anesthetic business.
We got drops too that work, you can actually do that. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's best to do, yeah, save it for the, just kind of takes away all that, yeah. Depends on how they react. Yeah, I see that they're really sensitive to things, and I try not to use anything for just black.
This is that same guy who did the Hunter S. Thompson. So it stayed, this thing stayed pretty much as dark, just the redness went away, it healed, and it stayed pretty, pretty dark. So it didn't really lighten up that much. So I don't want to push my ink too much on you guys, man, but I love it, man. I love it the way it looks when it's healed, you know. I think it's really going to stand the test of time really well. So a little shameless plug for myself and Intends.
When did you make the switch to the opaques for your set? With like the
God, it's
white?
been good 4 years or so, but we did a first set, and it was pretty dark, you know, but it worked really well, and the thing is when Mario approached me about doing a set with Intends, it was like, well, I really just use black and water, you know. But he thought it'd be cool to have an actual gray wash set for people who like gray wash set. You know, you can do the same thing. A lot of people will set up cups and then do the drop method, you know, like black, and then do 5 drops, 4 drops, 3 drops, 2 drops, 1 drop, water, or whatever, you know. And that's kind of the same thing as, premix grays is just, you don't have to do the drop thing. You've got them all ready to go. But I never really used premix grays. So when we did my set, I ended up using just the 2 blacks and watered them down and just used it the way I used to work, but using those 2 blacks. I had a darker black, dimension black, then sculpting black, and then I would just do it was darker though than Pelican, so I would do like a quarter black, 3/4 water for the mid-tone cup, instead of half Pelican, half water, what I used to do. But I had used a lot more, even, like I used the whole set when we first did it to make sure that the washes were cool and stuff, and they were pretty dark, but it wasn't a problem. I had to use more water than I would normally use, but I did a lot of tattoos and stuff, and they healed. They looked fine, But one problem I had with it was it smeared. The ink was a little thicker than the Pelican that I was used to using my whole career, And doing portraits and stuff, I was wiping a little more, and I was wiping my stencils off a little more than I wanted to, and I kind of reverted back to using Pelican for portraits, and then I was using the Intense stuff for like freehand stuff, where I would just gray line the whole tattoo real quick, and then I work anywhere. I'll talk about that too before we leave real quick, how I approach freehand stuff. But so then Intends kind of caught wind that I wasn't using it for every tattoo, and so Mario was like, "Man, let's fucking fix this so you're fucking 100% happy with it." It's like, it's a good idea, man. It's my fault for not saying something in the first place, So we went back, we redid the formula, and it's a completely different formula now. And we did 4 test samples. Like the first set was just like, oh, this is fucking great. But the washers were a little bit dark. It did matter. I did the tattoo I did. I just used enough water. I know how it looks in the skin. But I'm thinking, for everybody, yeah, I want to make sure the washes are light enough for anybody who's going to use it, you know. So I did an entire animal sleeve on a guy, and it's all 4 test samples, from the first one to the 4th one. He nailed it, and that's the final version. But his whole sleeve is with all I was kind of testing this set on his sleeve and everybody else too, you know. And you can't tell the difference, what was what, you know. It was just use a little more water at first. So the 4th time he nailed it, got the washes to the perfect fucking shades that I wanted them to be, you know. And it's fucking, I love it, man, you know. So I've been using that almost 2 years when we first started fucking with the new formula. It's been out a year now. And I think I was using at least 6 months before then, testing the different samples. So, but every tattoo for the last at least year and a half has been my new Intense set. So if you want to try it, make sure it's in the white box.
You found that it was too light, the first batch that you had, it was like, it lightened up too much?
No, they were a little too dark.
Oh, they're a little too dark. Okay.
But I just use a little more water
Yeah.
and compensated for that. So my tattoos all look exactly the same. It's not like they look too dark because the washes were too dark. They still look the same. I just use a little more water. But I wanted to get them lighter for, like, I could have left it that way and been happy with it, you know. I know how to work with it, but I wanted anybody trying it, I want it to be like perfect for anybody trying it for the first time, you know. But it's this box, it's a white box. So the old box was a black box. So if you ever come across that, it's the old set.
I
You
got
could-
that one, yeah.
Clear caps. The old set has clear caps, the new set has black.
Yeah,
The bottles.
yeah, the bottles they're all these new black caps. So the other ones had clear caps, the old set. And the old set's good.
There's out in there.
Quite a few people told me they liked the old set. And then I've had a few people told me they thought it was too dark, you know, so I've heard different things. It was great ink, but it just wasn't ideal for the stuff I do, so we fixed it, and now it's fucking, I love it. I'm not just saying this because my name's on it, you know, I really do fucking love it. So, and I've used like dynamic and stuff, I've tried different things, you know, right now it's like my favorite ink, you know. I'm not saying it's the best ink out there, it's just my personal favorite at the moment. I'm not experimenting with anything else either, though. I've tried dynamic, you know, I like this better. BJ Betts is, you know, I'd love to try his set, man, but I don't want to like it more than mine because I gotta use my set, you know. So, but because I used his Formula 23, I've used just the black and I loved it. But he's got a brand new gray wash set out too. So if you guys want to, I'm curious to. I have to try it. You know.
Have you tried Silverback at all? Or?
No, you know, I haven't.
It's really, really good. I mean,
So,
I find it to be
a lot of people like Silverback. Yeah. I've heard some people say it was too light, but then he's got newer ones.
Yep.
Toxic, my buddy Toxic was an amazing black and gray tattooer. He worked with Paul Booth for several years. He likes Silverback, yeah, and his work's fucking badass. So, and you should, I always recommend trying everything, and
Yeah, find what works for you.
up to you, man. Yeah, and you know, that goes for needles, ink, machines. You know, you really should. The stuff I like might not be ideal for you guys, you know. But I hear stuff, and I like to try stuff out, you know. What was I going to pull up?
The collab.
Oh,
Yeah. Thank you.
So I'm using Silverback because black. I just don't have smells, I just can't. I like the thing, like I got the thing blacks, like
Oh.
I can show you guys a bunch of collabs I've done over the years. The very first collab. This is the very first collab tattoo I've done with anybody. Me and Shane O'Neill did this. This is like back in 2005 or something. So it's me and Shane O'Neill. And our styles are so... Are you guys familiar with Shane O'Neill?
Oh, yeah.
He's one of the best on the planet. We started tattooing like a month apart from each other in 1997. I mean, I'm 10 years older than him, but we started... Me and Kat Von D started the same year, but we both been tattooing 19 years, but she started when she was 14. I started when I was 34. It's pretty crazy. So, but me and Shane are creepy stuff. We have a real similar style. We did a collab. We did a set of collab Flash together too. And, really like-minded when it comes to creepy stuff. So that was my first one. My second one was with Jack Rudy. We did a seminar together. So that's me and Jack. Check this out, man. We did the tattoo. I was still wearing contacts back then. And it's probably at the point, like I had to stop wearing them because I needed bifocals when I was like 42-ish, somewhere around there. So I couldn't wear contacts anymore. I kept getting farther away and away. Now, I'm nearsighted. I see best without my glasses, but I got to be like this close, you know. But a lot of times when I'm working, these are bifocal and everything. But if I really need to see something super tight, detail and stuff, a lot of times I'm looking over my glasses, maybe to put white highlights in or something like that, because I see best that way. But if I take my glasses off and tattoo, which I can do. Actually, I did it Friday because the lighting was so bad in that room that I had to take my glasses off to do the tattoo. But then when I go to dip, it's blurry over there, you know. So I gotta be like, it sucks being blind. I've been wearing glasses since I was 6 years old, so I'm pretty fucking blind. But with this, the guy wanted us to sign it at the end. So we signed it with Jack Rudy's single needle. So he signed it first, and then I used his machine. I went to sign it, and I did the B. It was a single needle, which I think was the first time I tried a single, and it felt really weird. And it looked like I didn't get the line in, so I went to try to redo the line, and I made it too thick. And then Jack's like, here, he had these magnifying glasses, like some kind of reading glasses, but they're magnifying. He's put these on Holmes, you know? And so I put them on, and it's like, oh my God, I could see like 1,000 times better. It was like, holy shit. I didn't realize how blind I was, man, with my contacts. So then I finished this off, and I tried to just make it all consistently a little thicker so it didn't look fucked up, like one big fat line and a bunch of thin lines. So then I went back to Jack's and thickened his up a little bit. He let me do it. He let me do it. Crazy. I was super honored. Jack's one of my heroes, man. So we traded tattoos a couple years ago. He did the back of my head, a skull, and I did a skull on his thigh, you know. Both times we finished when the sun came up. We left, it was like total sunlight out. Jack's a night owl like me, and I don't know if you guys know his reputation for fucking starting, you know, a half a day later than he tells you. A friend of mine, Chris Longo, this is years ago, he went to get tattooed by Jack, and he did it like, I think the day after he had the appointment, like he was going to do it that day, and it got so late. Oh, we'll just do it tomorrow, Holmes. And so, but he tattooed him. He finished, and Chris fucking hauled ass to the airport. He had to catch his flight, you know. So the second day it was like late, and then he flew the next day. It was like in the morning. He was flying back or something. And just barely made his flight because Jack put it off like 30 hours or something, you know. But Jack had that reputation, you know. But with me, he told me. When he tattooed me, he's like, you know, come on at 7, dude. And so I'm like, all right, I'll get there at 8 and still be way early. So I got there an hour later than, and he got there at like 9:30 or something. So we started the tattoo. I think we started mine like 1 in the morning or something. And we actually started. I love that. I love late night tattooing, man. I just love the vibe of it, you know. And I've become I mean, when I made countertops for 15 years, I got up at 5 in the morning, you know, or 6 in the morning. I had to be there at 6 or 7 a.m. for 15 years. And now I go to bed at 5 or 6 in the morning. Like, I've just done a complete 180. And I like being up at night for some reason. Nighttime's the right time, right? So that was Jack. Here's my first Nico. This is the one where he did the stencil. So Nico did all the color, and I did all the black and gray. But I was struggling through this whole thing. It came out okay in the end.
That's awesome.
So Nico did most of it. I just did these 2 squares. Thanks, man. That was fun. Let's see. I'll show you all the Nico stuff. That was the first one.
That's
This-
a go.
Yeah, this was the second one. We did this in Calgary. Really fucked up skin. Got real red. So me and Nico did all the black and gray together. And Nico did the color droplets. And that was the second one. This is the third one. We did this at the Paradise Gathering in Colorado. So Nico photoshopped this thing together, which is something I want to learn how to do, you know. He did it in like 2 minutes, you know. Found a cool chick's face, got a cool skull, and he went to Photoshop and morphed them together, and then we printed that out, you know. Whenever I do stuff like this, I've done it quite a bit, you know, say half a face, half a skull. I have 2 separate things, and then I just draw half the stencil, and I'll cut both out, and like I'll put it together on the skin and stuff. But if you know how to use Photoshop, you can do this whole thing and print the whole thing as one thing and do it like a portrait, you know. So I did most of the skull. You know, Nico did all the color stuff. So he did, again, this one was more him than me. But I did pretty much this whole skull part. All the black and gray I did, all the color he did. So that was a fun one. And then that's the third one. This is the fourth one. So I think we did 4. And I probably did the majority of the black and gray, but Nico did some of the black and gray as well. You can't tell who did what. Our styles mix pretty well, but then Nico obviously did all the color. So I love these collabs with Nico because he does more than me. It's pretty relaxing, you know. I can just do a little bit. It's more work for him for sure. So Nico did the color in the eyes. I think no, he did the eyes. He did the entire eyes. But some of the stuff I've done with like Annie Angle, Jack Rudy one, you can totally see Jack in there. His flames and stuff, and the eye. You can see more of me in the teeth and this whole part of the skull. But I worked on this as well. But I think Jack had kind of laid the foundation of those flames. But if me and Annie Angle and me and Shane O'Neill are so close in style that you can't really tell who did what. Or it could have been either one of us that did the entire tattoo. You know. See, this is the second skull. I did this with Shane O'Neill off the map here in Massachusetts. We did a seminar together at the shop and stuff. So, but that could be, I look at it and see, it's like I could have done the whole thing, or Shane could have done the whole thing. And I don't even remember who exactly did what. So, that's why it's fun to collab with Shane, because we're so similar. I did this one with Andy Angle. So, again, you know, that looks like a skull I did myself. Actually, if you look at Andy Angle's skulls, he goes crazy with texture. So I think if Andy had done this whole thing, it actually would have been more detailed, to be honest.
He uses a bit more white than you do as well.
Yeah. Yeah. This is with Danny Angle again. I think. Because me and Marshall Bennett have done a few. We do a skull. We do a seminar together in Detroit every year, and we do a collab skull in the seminar. Whoever takes the seminar, we pick a name out of the hat, and somebody gets a free skull if they want it. But we've done that about maybe 4 years in a row. I gotta show you a cool collab. Last year in Detroit, it was me and Marshall in the seminar. Rember asked if he could come and fucking jump in. We're like, fuck yeah, are you kidding me? And then Jose Perez Jr. came and jumped in on it. And then Tibby, we were talking about this Tibby guy, best portrait guy in the world I was talking about. He came and jumped in. And then Francisco Sanchez, who works with Rember, he's one of the best portrait guys in the world, hands down. He's so amazing. Me and Rember did a collab on him, I'll show you right here. But so he jumped in and just did white highlights because he came in at the end of the night. It's like, hey dude, jump in, do some white highlights. So there's like 6 people on this tattoo. It was just supposed to be me and Marshall. It turned into a 6-way collab. Which I'll show you right now before I forget. This one. So that's 6 guys, believe it or not.
Well, looks good. Wow, thanks.
That was fun. It's hard to tell who did what, but Tibby came in there and did a bunch of amazing shit. All in fucking here.
It looks like one solid artist.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Looks too good to be me by myself. Yeah, I was stoked to do that. That was fun. Just a bunch of artists I worship, you know, we all fucking had a blast.
Nice.
It's one of the most fun days of my life, actually, to be honest. Me and Ralph Nonweiler did this. This is on Jeremy from Sullen. So it was Jeremy's parents. Jeremy has kind of fucked up skin. He's got that real Irish. You can see his freckles. So he gets kind of red and stuff. But me and Ralph were a good match. You know, our styles are similar enough. It was a lot of fun. Big honor. I'm so stoked to do collabs with friends I admire so much, you know. So it's just fun. And it's with collabs, you know, it's I'll show you well, this is me and Stefano. That was fun. Stefano kind of did that background. It's not kind of my style, but different, you know. That was kind of him, and then I love Stefano's texture too. He did a lot of this really cool stuff, like up in here. It was pretty, we both did a lot of the texture. It's hard to say exactly who did what. But that was a good match. But what was I saying? What was I just saying?
Collabo.
Oh, you're talking about
Oh,
freehand, doing freehand.
I was talking about, I was gonna say, doing collab tattoos, you know, it sounds like a total blast to have everybody tattooing at the same time on the tattoo, you know? And if, one time I was in Mexico and we did a 4-way collab. It was me, Benjamin Moss, Goeth, and a guy from Mexico, I forget his name. And it was a big thigh piece, but the guy was laying down on his side, and it was all 4 of us at once through the whole tattoo. And it's a fucking nightmare, man, because when anybody, like when you put your hands on the skin, the whole thing goes like this, bounces. When you take your hand, and when anybody takes their hands off the tattoo, it bounces. Every time somebody wipes, it's moving, the whole thing's fucking moving. So you got 4 guys, hands on, hands off at different times, everybody wiping at different times. It was like It was like off-road. Did you ever see that Steve-O off-road tattooing? It was like that. It's like the entire time the tattoo was doing this every second. There was no time it wasn't doing it. And I was the only one stressing out. I'm like, this sucks, guys. Fucking, I was just hating it. And everyone else is just like, oh, whatever. So I didn't like it, man. So and then that same weekend in Mexico, me and Benjamin Moss did a collab on an arm, and we worked on it for a while together, and then we decided, let's just switch off, tag team, and work one at a time, and it's just so much easier. So since then, most of the stuff we do here, we started off, we get a picture of us both working on it, on different sides of it, and we'll work a little bit, and as much as we can on the outsides of both sides, but a lot of that stuff, you just, like, they're not big enough to just get in there and have 4 hands in there working. So we'll just switch off. So it's still a collab, it's just not, the whole thing's not done at the same time. So it takes as long as a normal tattoo, But it's so much easier. But now I love doing collabs when it's like that. We switch off. And then you can take a break, you can fuck around, and I can watch Nico or whoever, and it's a really relaxing way to tattoo, doing a collab, and it's really fun. So the first tattoo I did with Rember was this. This was on Francisco Sanchez, portrait of his daughter. 10 fucking hours.
Wow.
You want to talk about a late night tattooer, later than Jack Rudy, is Rember. So they came to Detroit, and Rember had an appointment, and he's slow as fuck. Like, he starts late, finishes really late and stuff. So he was working at Marshall's. Marshall Bennett owns one of the Eternal shops now. He was working out there, worked till like 4 or 5 in the morning, didn't finish it. So the next day when we were tattooing Frank, Rember had to finish his tattoo in his hotel room he was staying. So they didn't finish till like 7, 8 o'clock at night. So we went back to tattoo to my house on Frank here. So we started tattooing at 1 in the morning, and we finished it. I think we finished at like 11 o'clock the next morning. So we all went to bed around 2 p.m., got up at 8 p.m., and then I had to tattoo Rember, man. I did his very first tattoo on him. And by the time we actually started tattooing, it was 1 in the morning. It was like the exact same time. And I worked on him until like 10 in the morning or something, and then we had to finish up, and I had to drive him to the airport, And it was more Rember's fault than mine. I'm blaming it all on Rember. So this was, he wanted to leave a little swoosh in there because down the road he's going to add to it and stuff. So when it leaves just a little hint of negative space in one area. So that was fun. And then, remember last, it was about a year and a half. It was a year ago in the summer we did Gabe's Black and Gray Week at Off the Map, and that's when Ralph tattooed me, and it hurt like a motherfucker. It was 11 hours, man, and I didn't finish that at the beginning of the seminar. It's like, I'm saying it was probably his machines that hurt more than his technique, but right from the very first little, I'm like, oh my God. Carlos Torres did the back of my other thigh just like 3 months before then. It's almost twice as big. It took 9 hours, and it wasn't that bad. Like, I sat through the whole thing, and I could have sat longer. It hurt, but it wasn't excruciating. With Ralph, right from the get-go, I'm like, holy fuck, how am I going to sit through this thing, So I stuck it out for about 5 hours, and Gabe had bought a bottle of Patron for us for the week there. It was in the shop, so I poured a big glass of tequila, man, and I just started sipping on that, and it got me through. By the end of the tattoo, I was like almost blackout drunk. But the white highlights didn't hurt at all. It helped. It got me through, man. I don't know how I could have sat 11 hours like that. And the first 5 hours sucked. It was horrible. Worst tattoo I ever got in my life. Worse than my ribs, stomach. I got all this shit, Paul Booth did and stuff. But that was by far the I could show you. But,
should we throw beads at you?
what's up?
Should we throw beads?
Yeah. Please, man. Yeah, I'll get naked. For beads, I will. This is a fun one me and Rember did. The second one we did together. So. It's a blast. Rember is fucking amazing, man. It's just... And what else? This is with Marshall Bennett. We keep them pretty simple because they're in the seminar, we're talking and stuff. By the time you get around for tattooing, you can't, you know, unless they want to stay there till 2 in the morning, you know, I don't mind. But we try to just give them a little souvenir skull so we don't go crazy because of time limits. But just a really basic skull. And again, Marshall, our styles are really similar too, so it looks like either one of us could have done this. Pretty simple. I guess it's my least favorite collab. Don't tell Marshall. Oh, me and Big Gus did this one. This is on real crappy skin too. So this was done at the Paradise Gathering in Colorado as well. Really bad skin. That's me and Gus. Gus did this background. Not really my style of background, so that's how I can tell who did it. No, I like it. I think it's killer. But I just know it wasn't me. Because a lot of these collabs, I'm like, what did I do in there? Sometimes I can't. The styles are so similar, I can't figure out what I did exactly. So I know I did these little bumps. That's definitely my signature. What else we got? Oh, to this one. You guys ever hear of John Wayne from Canada? He's outside of Windsor.
John Wayne's from America.
Not that John Wayne, right? This was a blast. We did this on his wife Jackie. I did the majority of the skull, but he did part of it as well. And then he did the whole rose, but I wanted to try, and we did all this with coils. He may have been using his Dragonfly on this, but he was using a Dragonfly rotary. But he used Dragonfly rotary for this whole rose, and it's like, and he wanted me to do more of it, but I just like, I don't want to fuck up your color, man, you know. I haven't done color in so many years. But then it's like, can I do one little petal, you know? And so I used his Dragonfly rotary, which I never tried. It's probably the first time I used a rotary, you know? And I did this little petal over here. But I did that entire petal. It's the smallest one. But I was pretty proud of myself that I at least didn't fuck it up, you know? And it was kind of fun, you know? It's like, ooh, color, wow. This is different. So, but that was a fun one. And that's it. 620. Shit. What didn't I talk about?
Freehand?
Oh yeah, freehand. You know, when I got some notes I made too. Let me make sure. You know, when I am doing a freehand piece and stuff, that's where my approach is completely different. Where I just use a ballpoint pen. Like I don't freehand that often. And I don't like. Yeah, brother.
Well,
Oh, just make sure you.
what's that?
Make sure you got the door okay and everything.
Yeah.
You got this shit down.
Did it long enough?
Yeah. Guys like Paul Booth and Robert Hernandez, if you're watching freehand, you know, they use Sharpies, and they'll just be like, and Robert Hernandez will just sketch something on, and you can barely see what it is, and everything he does is out of his head as he's doing it. Same with Paul Booth, you know. And same with me, you know, my freehands, they're really simple, my drawings, like when I draw on skin. But I hardly ever freehand, so it's one of those things that's kind of rusty. So when I do, I'm always erasing a lot and draw, I don't like that, wiping it off. So marker's harder to wipe off, so I just use a ballpoint pen because it wipes right off in one swipe pretty much. And so I can erase, like, so, but when I get it all drawn on, I just go through and I just get, if it's a demon head, it's pretty simple, you know. I don't draw any texture in there. I just draw the eyes, nose, mouth, ears, horns, whatever it is, but just the outlines of everything. And then I just do all the textures done while I'm doing it. I got all my usual little texture things I do, lumps and bumps and stuff like that. I do a lot of that with my horror stuff. I guess I could find a freehand one. But also I'll draw it out with a ballpoint pen, but then I go in and I just gray line the whole thing right off the bat. And I usually, I'll dip in with my intense set, I'll dip into my light wash or my extra light wash. Because the light wash, when you line with it, it goes in fairly dark still. So I'll outline stuff that I know is going to be darker than that wash. And then if it's stuff I just want to get in there so I can see it, but keep it real light, I'll dip it in the light wash, and it leaves a real light gray line, But I gray line it all, just kind of dab and stuff or wipe away. It's because one swipe and those ballpoint pen lines have disappeared, So I gray line it as quick as I can, and then I'll just go in there. I can work wherever I want. So I usually start in the dark areas, start with the dark side of the face, end up in the light side of the face. I kind of bounce around as I go a little bit, but it's more dark to light than anything else when I do that. But I'll go up and do some light stuff and then go back and do more dark stuff. But in general, it's kind of dark to light, if that makes any sense at all. Let's find something. Some of these skulls I use, with skulls, I can show you, like my freehand skulls look different than when I use real reference. Like I just did this one and stuff, but I like doing skulls from real reference, and when I do skulls like this, sometimes I'll kind of do a combo of do it like the reference, but then I'll kind of use my own texture as well, on maybe a third or even to half of it, and it's because skulls, you can just do whatever you want. It's a skull. It's not like a family portrait. You have to do it exactly like the picture, And it's really fun for me, So it's sort of, it looks like a real skull, but it's also got some unrealistic elements. Yeah, I'll do a lot of lumps and bumps on skulls. And remember, was it James Kern or Tim Kern? Skulls don't have bumps, Bob. So what, man? It's a monster skull. It can be. Mine do. I want to find freehand. Like I said, I rarely freehand anymore. So. Stuff. This is freehand. But my freehand stuff's got a certain style, it's very old Paul Booth-ish, because he's like my favorite tattooer of all time, always will be, so this is drawn on with ballpoint pen, So, but all this texture isn't in the drawing. Listen. I'll draw the eyes, a little hint of the brow, draw the nose, the mouth and teeth and stuff like that. But any values or bumps or texture isn't in the drawing. I just do it as I go. It's hard to fuck up a zombie, Any kind of texture is gonna work. But when I do this, I'm gonna guess when I started shading, I jumped right in with the eye socket area, and I'll do this in the darker areas, kind of rough that in. I'll start roughing it around the nose, put a little shadow under the nose, and then I may work on this whole middle area, and then just start bouncing around. This one has kind of a overhead light source, but I'll tend to get some of this darker stuff in, before I get some this lighter stuff. I'll definitely do all the dark stuff in whatever area I'm working in. I mean, I do all the darks throughout the whole tattoo, but I could be working in this chin area. I'll get all the dark stuff down at the bottom, like at this, and then I'll do the lighter stuff. So that's really the only difference between portraits, just from the bottom up. This was when I was worried about. His skin got really dark. It's like, man, I like tattooed his grandfather, but he looks Mexican, and it looks like he has a really bad sunburn on top of that. But he healed. It softened up quite. I don't have a healed picture of it, but I did see it healed. And this is one you're talking about glares and glasses. This was a tough one to do because I was debating not doing the glares in these because it really not a cool looking glare, And these glares were white. They were white, but I'm like, if I change them, for one thing, I can't really see what's behind them, and it'll change the look of the picture. So I decided to leave them in there, but I didn't do white,
Yeah.
You can see I put white, just some white in the glass. And actually, I did do a little bit of white on the edge of this glare and a little bit of white on the edge of that glare, which I don't know if I should have done or not because this was just one big thing, white glare. So I'm not sure if that was a good idea. Maybe I should have just left that out completely. But, it's subtle, Another possible mistake, maybe not. Did some healed stuff. That was fun. Let me just pull up these notes, make sure I did not talk about something I want to talk about. Is there anything, you guys have any questions about something that maybe I didn't talk about that you want to know about? Or sometimes I'll talk about stuff and then I'll just forget to mention something I really wanted to mention.
I've seen some like Kurasumi's making these black and grays that have like colors kind of infused in them.
Oh, you mean like a sepia tone or something?
Yeah, exactly. Have you ever used those? Or?
No, I haven't. I haven't even seen them used by anybody. Have you? I remember hearing something about that.
Yeah, I'm not
I remember Paul Booth a lot of years ago. He did it was from a Frank Frazetta Death Dealer painting. He did it on a girl's arm, and he did the whole Death Dealer was all black and gray, and he did a background, and he mixed, I believe it was red with black and gray, but it looked like a fresh tattoo that the skin got really red and irritated, where it has that kind of sepia looking red, that brownish red that's the fresh tattoo, it's going to lighten up a lot when it heals, but it was healed. So it looked like a big, it was just the background, so it looked like a big, fresh black and gray background. It looked like the Death Dealer was healed, and he just added some background, but it was already healed, and that was an experiment. So it was kind of cool, it was kind of different. And then this dude, Adam, who used to work for Paul, he did this big alien back piece, his entire back. Adam is 7 feet, 0 inches tall. He's 7 feet tall. So he's got a big back, man, it's huge. But Paul mixed a little green with his black and gray, like right into his washes and stuff, and tattooed it. And it looks black and gray, but when you really look at it, you can see little hues of green. And it's pretty cool, man. It's something I would be afraid to try myself, unless it was a friend or something, But Paul's done that, and he's done that with blues as well to get a little bit of a cooler look in black and gray work. I don't think he's done it in a long time, but Paul's an experimenter. He'll try different stuff. And I don't experiment as much as Andy Engel is an experimenter too, and he'll try. He'll experiment with every single ink he could try, every single needle configuration. He eye loops needles under he doesn't eye loop them. He puts them under a magnifying glass to see what the texture is like, and then he uses them, sees how they heal. Did they lighten up a lot? Did they, he's tried every little thing, and then he tries to figure out what the best needles are and everything. He goes overboard, But it's great. He experiments. He's trying to fucking do the absolute best work he can do. And I don't experiment like that. I sort of just find what works. I've fallen into my little habits of doing things. It's been working fine, and so I'm like, I'm happy with happy enough. At the same time, I want to get better. I want my work to get tighter. I want my gray work to get a little smoother. I'm sorry, bro, you got a question?
Yeah. Have you tried like playing around with opaque grays, the spectrum, like from?
No.
They behave different.
But somebody said about my ink, can I tell them a secret? Reading it with the ink, and you can kind of see it at the bottom of the bottles anyway. But one of the things we did with my new formula to make it better than it was, there's some white in there in the formula, in all the gray washes. Someone thought some of my later work with this set has that opaque feel to it. You can almost see it a little bit, and I never noticed it. I mean, do you guys see it? I just see black and water myself.
Gray.
You probably notice it like more when it's healed or something.
This thing healed really nice. Everything stayed.
Yeah.
It's like pretty much as dark as this is, but the redness is a soft gray. This is just a soft gray in here now. But it didn't really lighten up much, and that's what I love about it. So, I mean, down here you get some real light gray, this is pretty soft. I saw it heal. This did lighten up a little bit down here. But, I don't know, but somebody did mention that about my ink. So that was surprised me. Like, really? He's white? Wow. Cool. Whatever works, man. Find these notes real quick. Probably got to get out of here.
Quick question.
Yeah, man. I'm in no rush to go.
You guys have them for sale? Like, up front?
Kingpin has it here.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Intense has it here.
Yeah.
I forgot you were here, yeah.
So it's $63 for the show special.
Oh, sweet. It's normally $80, so
They said 80.
normally $80, yeah. The set, so. But it comes with there's a little booklet in it. It's really cool, man. It's got tattoos that I've done. It's got we kind of pointed out to exactly what I'm using in the set and the part of the tattoo. So, there'll be dark tone, medium tone, light tone plus distilled mixer mixed together. So, a bunch of tattoos and
Do
stuff.
you guys put a clear in there, in that set?
No, that's the thing. I use a distilled mixer.
Just distilled water.
It's got a couple things in it it's pretty much distilled water, But it seems that the distilled mixer seems to, I don't know if I'm imagining this, I'm pretty sure though, it's when I've used distilled water, like when you dip into just the water cup, you can see it separate a little bit. Where with the distilled mixer, it seems to like just kind of blend in with the water a little more. So that distilled mixer is probably what they're using in the washes. So I could be wrong, but it might mix with the washes a little better. But distilled water will work though, because that's almost all distilled mixers, mostly distilled water. Find where I put them. That's not it. Shit. I can't find them.
Using flats, then you can experiment with it.
Can you go to that one next to
Yeah.
John Denver?
Flat.
Yeah,
Harry and the Hendersons.
yeah.
That was fun. Oh, like doing the eyes and stuff. I know people have asked me in the past, like, how do you get your eyes look so like wet, real? And but it's a combination of white highlights and super soft gray tones, like in the whites of the eyes. Like when you think of the whites of the eyes, you don't think about putting gray in there. But when you look at photos of eyes, there's usually soft gray in there. And see, this whole area is like a light gray tone, which you might think, the eyes, they're supposed to be white, so you don't want to make them too dark, But the combination of, those gray tones, most of the whites of the eyes, there's really just one little spot right here in the middle that's skin tone, but there's real light wash here. And then the white highlights, it just gives them that wet look. We find some better eyes though. That's not quite done to the hair. I mean, it was a long day at a convention and I didn't quite thoroughly shade the hair out as much as I wanted to. Some good eyes. What fester.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can see around the gray I put in the eyes, Real light gray wash here. There's some open skin there. And then there's a light gray wash all down here. I'm really just copying the picture best I can, So,
For the wrinkles, do you use the sculpting black, or is that a darker mid-gray?
no, that's actually probably like a medium gray. Those are some wrinkles that may have gone in a little darker than I wanted them to. And I do wrinkles, I don't really use a liner. I use my straight 5 mag and try to just, because a wrinkle really it's not like an actual, I've seen people tattoo wrinkles and they look like they used an outliner to do the way and they look totally unrealistic, But the wrinkles you want to like up here, now I hope these lighten up a bit because that looks too dark. And see, like this wrinkle here, it's like I'm just kind of using the mag, and because the wrinkle really, it's like it should be kind of a sharp edge at the bottom there, and then just fading off, because a wrinkle is like going into the skin, and then there's that roundness there. It's a crease. It's not a line. So trying to get it where it looks like this is the best part of the whole forehead wrinkles, right in the middle there. This looks too dark to me, but it's going to lighten up. These look a little too dark to me too, Oops. Doesn't ruin the tattoo.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't.
And I know they lightened up.
I'm sure they don't even notice.
They might have looked a little darker just because of I don't know. But I don't think I think I used a medium gray in there. But because this is a lighter area, like that wrinkle should be as light as this in the middle here. I'm thinking. Nobody's perfect. Just the background, just did just enough background to create the edge of the head. I like doing these little wispy, smoky type things.
Character.
Goes good with horror type stuff too. Anyway. Here's one that got really red. So I picture all this to be real soft. You can see how light it is. That shade right in the forehead, that would be, that's probably my extra light tone. Half light tone, half distilled mixer. Right here, so that's gonna be real light. This would be my light tone, like right here. This would be more of medium to medium mixed with light tone. Did you see my skin highlight at the tip of the nose there? You know, and the rest, this is all, most of the nose was shaded. But this was getting hit by like 2 light sources at once. So, it's kind of light in that part of the nose. This light is over there as well. But yeah, that was when it got really red. I was like, oh man. Like when I just started tattooing, I'm like, oh, it's Christopher Lee. I was so excited to do it. And so, and then if you look at the eyes, you know, there's quite a bit of gray wash in there. See, when I zoom in, this is where I want to tighten up my work more, you know? It's like, and tattooing's hard, you know? It's like,
This is 10 times.
this eye's better. This eye looks pretty round. This eye, you see that stuff there? Looking back now, I could have gone in there and fixed that, I think, and tried to make it completely perfect. Sometimes I don't see that stuff, and I mean, the older I get too, I get so burned out doing portraits, it's really draining all my energy. When I get to the end and doing the eyes and stuff like that, sometimes I really don't see it. You kind of get that tunnel vision, and I want to try to make myself fucking go over every inch of it really, really thoroughly and fix something like that, because I could go back and make that eye look a little better, you know. But from far away, like, I really don't notice it. By the end of the tattoo, I don't even see it until I look at pictures later and I go, how didn't I see that? You guys ever do that?
Yeah.
Get pictures back and go, what the hell did I do there? It's like, fuck, I missed that white highlight there and the earring, man, and one of the biggest ones. How did I miss it?
I notice a lot of times after doing a long session, if you just take a photo of it, the camera just registers certain little things that you don't
Yeah.
see with your normal
That'd
eyes.
be a good idea. Take a picture and then just look over the picture, zoom in.
I always
Look at everything.
find stuff in my photo, and then I'll finish up and like touch up little things before I finish my session.
That's a good idea.
Always catch things.
That helps me a lot too, because it's the way that the tattoo would look from a distance too. So it's like a good quick value check.
Yeah, yeah.
A mirror is another secret. The old portrait trick, the guys look in the mirror.
Let's see. Charles Bronson. You know, if the hat's cut off in the picture, you know, I'll just find ways to fade it off. You know. This is the main thing, the face. You see the hat. You know. I like stuff. Sometimes, even if that whole hat's in there, sometimes I'll fade off. I'll do just about the whole thing, but I may leave like a little corner open and just sort of fade it off, and just for a little artistic flair, you know, to add a little artsy-fartsy thing to it instead of just trying to copy the picture.
What's that? Husky?
See this chick here I tattooed? She stole a gold ring from my house.
I'm gonna find her.
This is what she looks like.
And I got it back. I'm not even gonna tell you the story. I don't want to call her out, but it was pretty crazy, man. They were from out of town. So they came from out of state. I tattooed them, and she stole a fucking gold ring from my house. Crazy. Here's a dog. You can see the background here. You know, I did background around it. I left some open skin there. At the top, though, the way the light was hitting, I had to have the background attaching to the head. This ear had a big highlight, so the background was attached to the ear. This ear is dark over here, so I kept the background away from it, you know. But This is one of the earlier ones I've done with the Cheyenne pen. You know, whiskers, sometimes I'll do white in the whiskers, sometimes I won't. Sometimes if they're like really big and they don't look white in the picture, I don't put white in there. But if they're really thin, in this case, because sometimes they're not like white in the picture, but sometimes because they're so thin and there's all this stuff going on around them, they might get kind of lost in there. It may not heal or age super well 15, 20 years down the road, so get that white in there to make them pop a little more. Sometimes with animals too, like dogs, I may add a little bit of white highlights that aren't in the nose. Because sometimes there are white highlights in the nose if it's wet. It's got that wet look to it. So with this one, I can't remember if there was actually white here, but probably more times than not, if there's not white in the nose, I'll still add it in there. I'll put it up here too. This one I didn't, but I may put it up there and, you know, the highlights of a dog nose. Let me leave him up, and then there's one. I just did a zombie dog. Yeah, so the zombie dog, I didn't put any white highlights in the nose. It was kind of dark, you know. And this guy I did. And like the bottom lip, I remember this. It's pretty recent. So there was a highlight over here in the lip, but no white highlights. But I added white highlights, and just because they look cool. You know. It looks like it was there in the pic, really, if I didn't see the original pic. So it's real minimal white, man, just a little bit in the teeth.
A question about the dark hair, when it comes to like, you know, like white and black on it, do you start with like a darker tone and work your way, you know, down, or
If I'm doing hair,
like a darker, like a black, you know, how you have like black and white on that dog on the right, and opposed to like, you know, an all white dog or something. Do you usually start like on your dark side?
no, because I do work from the bottom up. But I will try to get darks in if I can without wiping the stencil away, you know, so
Yeah.
I probably, with this one, I may have started like down here, in the bottom right. Got that chunk in there.